Hi, Carol here. A warm welcome to my craft room once again. We're going to be using a wonderful folder and these trims. I love the oval on the oval, meaning the oval embossing folder. It's a daisy oval, and I got it at Joann's years ago, and it doesn't have a name on the actual embossing folder, so I apologize. But if you're looking there at Joann's, you will find this. It has an orange cover, if I remember right. And I thought this when I was searching in my craft room, my stash, I found not only the beautiful trim, but these Couture Creation pearls. They're 3 millimeters wide, and they have the premium adhesive on them, which I really like. And you get 206 pearls on there, and they're called Snow White. So we'll back up. It's a daisy oval embossing folder, and these are the Couture Creation pearls. And I left the number if you're looking for them on the internet for you. And I adore anything that's embossed with an oval. Yes, there it is, premium adhesive. It's more for my memory than for yours for sure, as I'm doing the voiceover and looking at it, right? So I thought these little daisies, as you can see going around the oval, would look nice with the pearl in the center. I thought it would bring it out in a nice sort of way. Embossing folders now come in so many sizes. I ran to my craft room and I measured this one for you. It's the smaller one. So it's 4¼ by 5¾ That way I can work around the edges to build a nice look to this card, yet the center, the actual piece that will be our, oh, look at that. Yes, I'm doing the poinsettias dies that I have, but you know what? That's what was my first thought. But the Prima Marketing doily lace trims, that's what that is, the actual gold trim. And I'm going to jump right here to say, even though I have premium adhesive on the pearls, if you add glossy accents or the Nouveau Crystal Glaze, it will, just a little dot on the top will actually seep down and give you that extra adhesive. And that didn't work for me either, as I'm looking at it. And I was not going to go sideways. I was going to go up and down. Yeah, so I'm using hot glue to do that. But what I wanted to say here, when you put the Nouveau over top, my video is getting ahead of me here. Slow down. That's the name of the penny black wreath, by the way. But if you put glossy accents or the glaze on top of your pearl, just a bit, it will seep down, give you double adhesive, and it'll turn it from the pearl glaze to actually an opal glaze. I just wanted to make sure I threw that in for you before it starts to snow in my craft room. I just seem to have way too much fun when I'm doing my voiceover and editing. And I so enjoy it, and I enjoy your company. Thank you so much for joining me once again. So isn't this something, how it raises up the wreath? It gives you that gold, beautiful applique underneath, which is glittery. And then I thought, look at this. I put the skates. See how it has the little bow on the skates? I left the information for you for that. And this other bow comes with the penny black wreath. So I thought that would be a beautiful element. And we're going to do something different. We're going to use pens on this card to bring up the gold and the silver and the glitter. You know the white Signo pens that are so famous for crafters that like to get the snow or white brush lettering calligraphy with? Well, it comes in gold and silver, and the gold is beautiful. It just comes out perfectly. And what I'm doing here, I'm going to go around each dot. And yes, it does take a little bit of time, but in retrospect, it's a nice element. If we had to do anything else, like painting or, stamping, that takes time too. But this is a relaxing fun time. It really is. And I pick out all the tiny elements on an embossing folder to pop whatever it is that's embossed, you know, that's raised up. I just like to add a little something something to make it extra popped, if that, you know, makes any sense. I think it does. And here, this is the die, the skate die numbers, if you want to, and they're called, if you want to have the numbers to order them, and it's called hanging skates, and this is the size that it is. So just you can get a little bit of visual, and it's from the Frantic Stamper ink. That's what it says on the outside of the little die, which isn't so little when you look at it here. I think it's just perfect. You don't want anything too big because the wreath and the gold is more of my focal point. And then it has the little stitches for the lace down the skate, and I thought it would look really pretty to use the gold signal pen because it's already embossed into the skate, so you just really have to touch it with the gold. And then I grab a silver. Now I didn't have my silver signal pen on hand, but I did have I did try it right here, but this one ran out of ink for me, so I had to grab another pen that I just got at my stationery store. And as you will see, there's nothing in there. So I switched over to a gel pen from, it just says, I think, Beatty's Basics. That's where I go to shop here in my neck of the woods at my stationery store. So when you're in the stationery store, look for these wonderful pens, the gold, the silver, the glitter, the jelly roll pens. I'll be using the glitter in those today. And this way we get the sparkle, and they're affordable, and it makes for a wonderful coloring aspect in our cards for sure. The jelly roll pens I get at my Michael's, which is very affordable, and it's called Crystal Star is the name of the glitter that I use in the jelly roll, and wow, does it sparkle. They're amazing, and you know, I forget to use them and end up using other products that are more expensive actually than a glitter pen, the gel pens, and you can get them at Walmart or Michael's, and to get them in the packs with all the colors. That is a savings when you do that in the packs of jelly roll pens. I love using them, and you know, when new products come on the market, don't let me include you on my hoarding. Hello. There he goes. We have to add that in, right? What's a Saturday afternoon without our dog walking across our cards, right? And speaking of dogs, I just let Cinnamon out. So if you hear me panting a little bit, that's why I ran up this flight of stairs to come in and finish our wonderful edit. I hope you find it wonderful. So here we go with the jelly pens. These are fantastic. You know, I moved them from the spot that I keep my jelly pens right onto my island because I am going to use these more than I do other pens that I have bought in the past because they let out this glitter that's truly amazing. And this one, I just know that it's something star. Yeah, doesn't that help you out? But I will leave it in the description box if I remember to do that. So I decided to actually pen in the gold on the bow, and I just think it's wonderful. I went around all the oh, there it is. It's called Sparkle Star. I left out the star. And I went around and I did all these little, they could be snowflakes. That's a beautiful element, but I'm pretty sure the name of it was Daisy something. But let's go with that. They're stars. It sure does look pretty. And just pouncing on the jelly roll here. And this is the sparkle one. It looks gold, doesn't it? But it isn't. And all those dots going around the oval, that's gold. Then you have this gorgeous applique underneath the wreath, which is doubled up. There's 2 die cuts of the wreath. And I just moved them slightly so that you got more sprigs in different areas. And then I put the silver on the skate blades. And you know, it's not really, it does look like a busy card, but it's not that time consuming. I think I was just sitting and crafting for about 5 hours on this. Bringing the edit down to 38, 39 minutes was more difficult than the creation of the card. As usual, you know, I like to add all the little add-ins and I like to have fun with it. I think that is what my channel is all about. That's what I try to make it all about. Just a little gathering like you're here in my craft room with me. And speaking of craft room, if you want to have be picked to win one of these 6 cards, all you have to do is leave me a comment on I do it the old-fashioned way with the names and pick the names. So just leave a comment and then I will pick 6 people to send them out to. And I'm going to personalize your card envelope. That's why I'm waiting to do, I will do a tutorial on the card envelopes. Yes, I'm going to do that. But then I'm leaving a space to put brush lettering your name in there to make it more personalized for Christmas. So we will do that later. And look at that doily. Isn't that gorgeous? It's got that fleck of gold in the actual making of it, you know, the crocheting of it or however they did it. Really pretty. So I'm making sure I do a second round to check all of the flowers because it's so easy to miss one, you know, one little thing in your eye will catch it. Like look to the left. See those right in the center, the 2 pearls? They're missing the jelly roll there. See, I caught that later on. I didn't catch that right away. So you have to do like a look-see when you're doing your card. And then I like the way I randomly put the pearls on the wreath because it has little spots for some reason, I guess to put elements, and I added that. And now the jelly roll sparkle pen, I will go around the big bow. So I have silver on the big bow that comes with the wreath and gold on the small bow. I tried to mix it up just a bit, but I'm telling you, once you get going with glitter pens, it's hard to stop because it's so subtle and just adds that beauty or something. I really, really like it. I haven't done a totally pen glitter card for a while. And then, as you can notice, I put the pearls on the 4 corners and I distressed the edges on this card. As I always do for some reason. I like that look. And then I go over it. And you see the leaves there where all the snowflakes or daisies, whatever we're calling them, are. I go over them with the silver gel pen, I think, later on. Now the crystal glaze, it's just a thinner version of the glossy accents. It doesn't take as long to dry. And over top of the pearls, when you put this glaze, you will notice they go from this pearlized look to a opal look, and it will seep down and add more adhesion to the pearls so they don't get lost in the mail. And this is what I'm doing. I'm going over all the leaves with the glaze, the Nouveau glaze. And I will try to remember to put a link to everything that I am using here in the description if I haven't put it on the tutorial. Now I'm just zooming in here so you can see the little elements. And isn't it just a pretty embossing folder? I think everything came together for me just the way I wanted it to. And giving it away, yeah, I'm my nails serve as glossy accent Nouveau scoopers. Yeah, I just scoop it up with my nail. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? So here I just grabbed the end of my my folder there, my bone folder, and I started doing it that way. But I was thinking I should get out my micro brushes, and I actually think I do later on, and that way it wouldn't kind of scratch. I tried to not do that. Yeah, then I'm going over it with my hand. Oh yes, all kinds of things you can do to clean things up. Then I get the the hot glue. That's what I do right here. Sometimes if I'm raising up things, I like the hot glue other than the Scotch foam pads there, the foam tape, if it's going through the mail. But I will be sending these in bubble wrap envelopes, so no worries there. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I am going to personalize your name on the envelope when I design those to match the cards later on. So I can't wait to do that. So here I'm making my own card base, as I always do. I'd say 80% of the time, 90% of the time I make my own card bases, because my cards are always oddly sized, and seldom are they A2 and seldom are they clean and simple. But I consider these two cards clean and simple. They are not difficult, not difficult. Clean and simple can be difficult. It's not so busy, like a vintage layered up card. Trying to weasel my way out of that, aren't I? Because a lot of A2 cards, designers put a lot of work into their cards. So I'm not saying that as far as a clean and simple card. I just don't do many of them. That's all. So here it is 5 3/4 by 7. Then I scored at the 1/2 inch mark. I think I do on this one. I fear getting anything on these cards. Because if I do a vintage card, you can just cover it. But here I'm trying to keep it clean. And because you can't put too many coverings on this, right? So I do that. I make sure I put a gusset down, on my scoreboard. So I score it at a 1/2 inch, and then I go over one more line and score it again. And that way, when I take my bone folder, which I love the Teflon one, it doesn't leave any marks. If you're new to my channel, or you're not new to my channel, but you're new to card making and you're looking for supplies, I would put this up in the top 10, is a Teflon bone folder. I really love mine, and I have, I've been doing cards and crafting on YouTube now for going on 6 years. And this purchase was one of the best purchases as far as a bone folder I've made. I really like the fact it does not leave that shiny residue after you've run it across your paper. So enough about that. They're just some things that you buy. It doesn't matter, like, liquid glue, whatever you want to use. It's not a big deal. I think you want to look for ones that don't, when they dry, they don't leave a shine. They dry matte. So that's nice to know as well if you're new. I've had a few new card makers come on my channel. Hey, some from Norway. And I'd like to say hello to Joni. Joni has been following me for some time, and I do appreciate it. And I don't like to say names too often because I don't like to miss anybody. But, I just, as I'm doing this here, I'm just thinking of some of the people that subscribe. And let's go on now. See these flourishes? That is from a set that comes with those hanging Christmas bulbs. And the flourishes are in that set. I have to remember to put that in the description box, because these flourishes are extra fine, and I love that. I do have a die set where they're thicker. And because I only need to use 1/4 inch, I think, on each side of the card to fill in, it's nice to have a fine, thin flourish. Now I'm just making little pencil marks for the back of the cardstock so that I can cut it off and join up both the front and the back. And if I don't mention it towards the end of the video, I do put an extra piece of cardstock with distressed edges on the back of this card. Because the front, when I lift it up, is so heavy with elements, I want the back portion to be evenly distributed in weight. So I do add another piece of the 120-pound cardstock. And I love the cream color of this one at Michael's. It's lovely. Creams come in all different shades like grays do. And this cream is a beautiful cardstock color. So now I put the tape on the back of that, and I'm going to add the tape on the back of this portion here. I'm trying to figure out, Oh yes, this I think is the back piece that I'm going to add to the back of the card to give it that weight I need. I'm going to wait till I turn it around. Some of these surprises are just surprises for me as well as you. So I did this card, I finished this card last night. So I'm going to take that 1-inch double-sided tape off. And let's see where I actually put this. Oh, it's to cover the fold. See the fold in here? So this is actually for the front. Let me see. Nope, that is the back. I end up using the fold on the back so you don't see that. And now I think I'll take the distress tool. I'll go around all the edges to make them evenly distressed. Turn it over. You can see I have no fold on the front. And then we add the base. This is our focal point. This is, in my opinion, just a pretty, pretty Christmas card. And remember when we did the first video, I talked about we're going to add 3 different color elements. So in this one, you have the gold and silver. That's 2. I know that with the pearls. But the main card, the last one was red, right? Christmas red. This one will be Christmas green in foil. So you'll get a different texture, a different element, and a different color. And I didn't think of this to use the foil till the very end. This was going to be mostly, as you see it right here, mostly in the creams. But I knew I wanted to touch different colors to show you that Christmas cards, they don't have to be just red and green, you know, or gold. I think you're really going to like card number 3, where I mix up the colors on the cream cardstock. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to work on that today. It's only 3:30 here in the afternoon. I started this edit this morning. It's so relaxing. I love what I do. I really do love creating cards for you. And there's no pressure on me because I don't get paid for anything, and I don't have, you know, any commitments to get my tutorials up for any specific company. You know, I have, you know, I used to do videos for my besties for a year, and that was wonderful. And but now I just like to do this as a hobby, and I enjoy it. And may I say once again, your comments, they're wonderful. And you go back and you watch my older tutorials. They're a hoot, aren't they? Especially if you go back in time. They I didn't even know that you had to fill in the description box and all that stuff. So sometimes I wonder, how come these only have 83 views? Yeah, it's because I didn't know how to fill out all of that information. I am very computer illiterate. I only know what I know to get my tutorials up now and make them more visible. And you have made it that way for me by subscribing. Thank you very much. See what I mean by thin flourishes? I can't wait till you see the die that I used. It's those 6 hanging boggles, I call them. And they had these elements in them, the flourish. They're really pretty. And I was wondering what I'm going to do with adding to the edges, because I didn't like the look of plain cardstock there. I wanted to add something else, as I always do, right? But I was thinking of, I had some of Martha Stewart punches, and I punched out, you know, some flowers and things like that. It did not go. And then all of a sudden on my desk, I saw these flourishes and they were perfect. So let's move on. Isn't this wonderful? And if you're joining me on your Saturday afternoon, I'm really excited and happy that you are. It's, you know, I take the day to do this and edit and voiceover and all that yada yada stuff, and I love it. So if you know, by your comments, you like to spend some time with me too, so thank you. And here we go. I'm patting that down. Yes, that's a good one. I'm actually just patting the glue down, right? I was thinking on going for a Harley ride on my Harley today, but my hubby's working, and I don't like to go by myself sometimes. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's around 70 degrees here, and the wind isn't up, so it's not putting any leaves on the ground. So when I'm taking my 1440 Softail Deluxe pearl white and black Harley out on the road, and my Vance and Hines pipes making all that noise. Oh yeah, that's a nice Saturday too. But either or, I like my Harley rides and I love making my card tutorials. So there it is. Perfect match, isn't it? So I have to get, let's move, my Harley's like pulling out pictures of your grandchildren. I like my Harley. Yeah. And I've been riding now for 8 years. And I love every time I take the bike out and my husband takes his bike out. That's our time away with each other. We don't have to listen to phones and everything that goes on in the business world here. We can just get away on the open road and the wind blowing through my hair. All that is true, when you have a motorcycle, whether it be a Harley, whatever it is, BMW, Honda, whatever. It is a lot of fun and relaxation, as is this card. Let's move forward. I think I know all of you well enough that aren't new to my channel that I can just yak, yak, yak and tell you a little bit about what I do. Yeah, and that's one of them. So here we have to add the Merry Christmas. Come on, Carol. I'm going to give you a close-up. Oh, I think this card's yummy. And I added the back, as you could see back there. I left a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. Do you see where my glasses, that shine? If you see that shine kind of going across there, that's my glasses. Yeah, I used to think it was maybe the lighting was off, but no, it catches my glasses. But anyway, so I'm going to put that Mary 3 high like I did before. I stack them up and I put on the glue, the Nouveau glue. And then I thought, okay, I want to keep it similar to the front of the card. Hang the skates with the big bow on top of that gold. And then I'm going to curve the Mary around so it's in an oval shape as well. And all of this just, don't you love creating? Think about it. We just look at this blank page and we make it come alive. That's all we do. And if you have a ton of cutouts on there, oh, it's wonderful. So let me move along quickly. I'm taking the, I'm going to zoom in for you. I'm taking the Signal Gold pen and I'm just going to go over the thin elements here. And I want to just say that if you have like a tag, or you know how we generally ink around the edges, or even on our card base, use your pen to go around the edges. It works beautifully. I'm going to show you an easy way of doing that at the end of the tutorial. And here, I think I'd use the bow, yes, and I go down the actual ribbon that's holding the skates on. Because it's so thin, it makes it just pop. And that's what I want to do. My eye keeps going up to that lace doily. I think it's so pretty, the sparkle glitter in there. Then I take my stationery gel pen, my cheap, inexpensive, not cheap, inexpensive silver. And there's the element I decided, the green foil. Remember I cut that out way back when I did maybe 3 cards back. And I took the snowflakes off of the top and bottom of this tag. And it worked out perfect because it looks just like the daisy on each side, or snowflake, whatever we're going to call it. I wish I would move my camera down. There you go. It all matches in some way. I think it's amazing. And I had an oval on the front of the card, and now I have the oval shape in green foil. That's the word I want to use, and it just popped. So I added the skates, then I put the Scotch tape runner underneath to bring them up, and then I looked over and I was so thrilled to find this oval. That way it's oval in the front, oval in the inside. So pretty. And the design of the flakes or the daisy, whatever you want, worked perfectly, didn't it? And I was really happy here. I really was last night when I was designing this. I was able to add that green in there, and it is luscious. And then we got to use that little strip of hearts, which makes it look like I punched it out of that piece of foil. But I ran that on top, and I'm telling you, it took away the super green element, that is not where your eye goes, and it just tones it down. And now I will add the Nouveau glue to the back of Mary, making sure I try to keep it as thin as possible so it doesn't ooze out the sides. But one thing about Nouveau glue, it dries matte. So that is great to know. And here you want to lift it a little bit when you're bending it so the glue doesn't touch your paper. And then just take your I use the micro brushes, and I get these, I get them at my dental office, but you can order these. I ordered these ones for $1 on a site called Wish. I will make sure I leave that link. I don't like to make a promise, but I'm really going to try. At the end of this video, I'll put it in the description box for you. So here I'm taking off any excess glue because I did put the Nouveau glaze, the crystal glaze, on top of the skate blades, on top of the bow. And now I'm doing the sparkle glitter gel pen over the little laces, that, the lace holes. And then I took the Catherine Pooler set, Christmas set from last year, the Stamp of Approval set, Candy Cane Lane, and I grabbed the tiny little Christmas. And may I say this, and I can say this because it's my channel, that I don't like to see Christmas with a small c on Christ, because Christmas is all about Christ, the birth of Christ our Savior, which is capitalized. So I look for that when I buy my stamps. I make sure that the Christ in Christmas has a capital C. And I liked that about this set. It was all uppercase, so that helped take care of that. And, for a Christian, that's very important to me, to have a capital C on Christmas. I realize we all have our own beliefs, and I don't push or run down anybody for what you believe in. But me as a Christian, I like to give preeminence to Christ in Christmas and make it his name holy as it deserves with a capital C. So I'm going to move on, and I'll say no more about that. And I love the Encore Gold, but I do love this, I'm trying, as soon as Brilliance, I think it's Brilliance ink. And this is the first time I've used that, and it's wonderful. It's just, it stays sticky, like, you can't do that with the dye ink, but you can do it on the Encore ink and the Brilliance ink. It's like a pigment ink. It stays wet longer. So I took my gold embossing powder, which is kind of like that Encore color, and on top of the Brilliance color, made it the perfect color. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, sometimes those things work out. And you can see the color, how it matches the Encore in my coffee filter. Isn't that super duper? And yeah, and then I heat set it with my heat tool, and there you go. I'm going to do a little video. Somebody asked me about, they're new to card making, what I would find the top products that you should buy when you're just starting out. And so I'm going to do that little tutorial and throw it in there sometime this week if you'd like to see that. And then I take my cutter here. I love this cutter because it has the wire. I didn't think that wire would be so important because I just got this one. I have other cutting trimmers, but I like this one because you can see perfectly where it's going to cut by that wire. So I highly recommend this one if you're looking for a trimmer. And it cuts like butter through the 120-pound cardstock. So that's a bonus as well. Then I cut it small because it's going to seat on top of the skates there. And I was going to put it on the right hand lower corner, but it altered it all. Just putting that little bit just totally altered it. And I didn't like the look of it in the bottom corner. Now here you go. Look at that. Just take your pen and make sure that the what you stamped is looking at you. That way, if it slides off the cardstock, you won't get a mark. It'll go underneath on the back part. Well, mostly it won't do that. And look at there. I put a little tag on it. It's so cutesy wootsy. I think I put hot glue underneath to seat it on top of the round doily because it is material. I put the dash lines all around in gold. Then in between the dash lines, I put it in the sparkle gel pen. And there it's complete. Isn't that pretty? And I want to thank you once again for letting me join you today for this almost 38-minute video on card number 2 giveaway. Just leave me a comment and you will be entered in to win that and a matching envelope. And I so enjoy your comments, getting to know you and where you're from. And some of you ask for prayer. I want you to know I keep a prayer journal beside me when I do my edits. And when I go in to read your comments, if you ask for prayer, you are in my prayer journal, my friends. So God bless you and have yourself a wonderful Lord's Day tomorrow. And I will see you on card number 3. I'm just going to head into the craft room and start creating. Take care, everybody.